Hello and welcome to another presentation of Sequent Technologies Quick SolidWorks Tips. One of the things that we ran in today during a demonstration at a potential client site is that they wanted to see us create a elbow out of a 5-segmented sheet metal parts and then actually flat pattern out the pieces that we need there. So I'm going to start by doing that. We're just going to create a new part. Create a sketch on the front plane, and we're going to create our ideal arc. Since it's going to be made out of 5 sections, there's really going to be some flattening. Let's see here. I'm just going to put a horizontal constraint there and a vertical constraint here, and we'll throw a radius on here, dimension. We'll say that it's 6. All right, I'm going to turn this into a construction line, and I'm going to throw some lines on here. And make all 3 of these guys equal. I'll select the midpoint of that, and then this arc by holding my control key down, and do a coincident constraint. Same thing for this one. And the same thing for this one. You can kind of see we've ended up with something kind of neat there. I'm going to make these 2 pieces equal, and that really tidies up that whole thing because that's the only way that all those parts can be put together. So if you needed more segments, obviously you could put more segments in there. It would take you just a little bit more time. Alright, now we need to create a profile of the actual pipe that we're going to revolve around. So let's create that straightforward. It's called a circle. Alright, let's put a radius on here, diameter rather, 6. And we need to break this thing up, so I'm going to let normal to again. And we're going to want our seam to be on the inside of our elbow. So let's go ahead and create a construction line in here. I'm going to run it out to the quadrant. And we'll do some offsets here. And I'm going to do 65 divided by 2. I'm going to pick this, and all this is doing is giving us both sides of that. I'm going to turn both of those lines I just made into construction lines. And I'm just using that to trim this up. Okay? So if we need to, and you need to tighten that up or make that gap bigger, you can do that by adjusting those 2 dimensions there. Alright. Now, we're going to use the surface command and do a swept surface, picking that as my profile, and then picking this as my sweep. And now we're going to give this thing a thickness. I'm just going to pick on that, and you can see we can go to the outside, we can do mid, or we can go to the inside. I'm going to assume that this pipe was 6-inch ID. Okay. And I don't know what thickness I just made it. I made it some sort of thickness. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so no, we cannot just flat pattern this out. We actually have to break this up into some other parts right now in this release. I'll say that. Alright, one of the things that we have to do is break this thing up into 5 parts. And let me show you how we're going to do that. We're going to do that by using the split face command. Very similar to if you saw the video for the super hopper. We're going to use the same technique here. I'm just going to pick those 2 entities and make a new plane here. One of the things I love about SolidWorks is the ability to create planes, especially tangent planes. When I used to work in Inventor, it would take forever to do some of that stuff. You had to make construction lines or make a work plane to make another work plane. It was just really a pain. Alright, so I'm just going to come in here and draw lines over the edges of these. See there, I've got all my lines on there. And that one's not actually touching, so we need to get it touching the whole way. Alright, so there it is. I've just got burnt. And I'm just going to do an insert, features, split, tell it to cut the part. You can see we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different parts now. Or actually 5 different bodies. So here they all are. And our next, let's kind of clean up our mess here so we don't see what we've got going on here. Alright, so far we've only got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 features. Alright, now we need to create separate parts and an assembly of this. Alright, now let me go out here and do save bodies. And this first one, we're just going to call it elbow mid 2. Not elbow, how about elbow? So save. And this one, we'll call it, and again, we really don't have to save all of these, but I'm just doing it so that you can see the whole thing. Let's see, which one is that one? Is that one? So we'll call it elbow mid 1. And this one we'll call it, for lack of any imagination, elbow mid 3. And we'll call this one elbow mid 2. And that's so clever. We'll call this elbow mid 1. Alright, now the last thing we have to do is tell it that we want to create an assembly here. So I'm just going to tell it to browse. And we'll create an elbow assembly here. And we'll tell it to save. Now what this will do is it actually saves out each one of those bodies into separate files. And it will create an assembly file where all the parts are entered into the assembly file. Alright, so here's our main elbow piece here. And if I go to Window, I can go to Elbow Assembly. And we actually have a 5-part assembly in here. Let's see. Alright, so let me pick elbow end 2. It's a little easier to see. All I'm going to do is edit this part, go to my sheet metal, insert my bends, pick this straight edge right here. I'm going to tell it OK. And say, well, what happened? Well, it made my flat pattern layout for that. Okay? Alright, so now we need a flat pattern layout for this. All 3 of these pieces are really the same, and this piece is exactly the same as this piece, really. So I'm only going to do it for these 2. So let's do it for mid 3 here. I'm going to edit that part. And again, just in case you missed it a second ago, we're under sheet metal. I pick this button, pick outside edge here, I say go, and you say what happened, just like you did before. And I do that, and I say, here's my flat pattern layout again. Now, for some of you, excuse me, that may seem like a whole lot of work. The cool thing is that now we've made all the elbows that you ever need to make. And you say, well, all the 5-section elbows, I should say. So you say, oh, how is that possible, Steve? Well, here we go. I'm going to go back to my original sketch, and let's go to this, and let's make this like 12. Do an update. Wow, so now I've got, obviously on something like that, you probably want to do more sections, but maybe not, I don't know. So that's cool. Now I come back over here and I say, hey, you know what? This is really a 10-inch pipe. Right, and of course we could change the thickness and all that stuff too. When we update, pow, we're done there. We do a save. Go back to our window, elbow assembly. Says everything is updated. Do you want to update? I say yes. We watch it grow, and then I go back to my end, and once I flatten that out, you can see it's a much longer piece than it was before. And again, with the mid 3 component, it's the same thing. So there you go. Pretty much you could make configurations after this and have it all in the same set of files. Or you could just do a pack and go. I hope this helps you out if you need to make a elbow transition pipe like this and get the flat pattern layout. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to visit us on www.sequenttech.com or call us toll free at 877-329-1691.